You heard about Binance, the #1 cryptocurrency exchange in entire world. But did you know about BNB or Binance Coin? Today, we are going to explain BNB from scratch. And even if you don't know anything about crypto, you will be able to follow. Because every video on Bitcoin Academy is 100% beginner friendly. And without wasting time, let's dive straight into our first topic, which will explain what is BNB. BNB stands for Binance Coin. It was first launched in 2017 and it runs on blockchain technology. But unlike Bitcoin or Ethereum, BNB was not created to replace money or to build a global network of computers. It was created with one goal: to power the Binance ecosystem. That means BNB is a utility token. Its main job is to make things smoother, faster, and cheaper for people using Binance platform. When it first started, BNB was mostly used to pay for trading fees on the Binance exchange. Imagine buying and selling crypto and paying less just because you are using BNB. That was the idea. But over time, BNB became more than just a way to save on fees. Today, it is used in many different parts of the Binance world. Think of it like the fuel that runs everything under the hood. Without it, things would still work, but not as well. BNB is also limited in supply. There will never be more than 200 million BNB tokens. And that number is actually going down. Binance has something called a burn mechanism. That means every few months, some BNB gets destroyed forever. The goal is to make the token more valuable over time by making it more rare, unlike traditional currencies like US dollar that are being printed at insane pace. But let us keep it simple. BNB is not magic. It is a tool, a digital asset that gives power to people who use Binance. It helps with fees, rewards, and access to extra features. And because Binance is one of the biggest names in crypto, BNB has become one of the most popular tokens out there, currently sitting at #5 spot out of all cryptocurrencies by market cap. So the next time you see the letters BNB, just remember, it is not just a coin. It is the backbone of everything Binance is building. And just like that, you know the basics. Now let's dive a bit deeper and explain what can you do with BNB coins. When you own BNB, you are not just holding a random crypto token. You are holding something that actually works inside the Binance platform. One of the most common things people use BNB for is paying trading fees. Every time you buy or sell crypto on Binance, you pay a small fee. But if you choose to pay that fee with BNB instead of another coin, you get a discount. This makes BNB very useful for anyone who trades often, because those small savings can add up quickly. But that is not all. BNB can also be used in something called Launchpad. That is a place where new crypto projects are introduced. And if you hold BNB, you can get early access to these projects before the rest of the world. It is a bit like getting early tickets to a big concert. You still take a risk, but the opportunity is there. BNB is also accepted in different services connected to Binance. For example, when people use Binance Earn, they can stake or lock their BNB and earn passive income. This is not magic money. It is more like interest for holding your coins in a special wallet for a period of time. And in some cases, BNB gives access to better terms or extra bonuses in those programs. Outside of Binance itself, there are also services that accept BNB as a form of payment. You can buy gift cards, pay for travel, or even shop online. It is not as widespread as traditional money yet, but the list of use cases is growing. So when someone asks what BNB is for, now you know. It is not just something you hold, it is something you can actually use. Whether you trade, earn, or explore new projects, BNB opens doors and gives you real benefits in the Binance ecosystem. All right, all of this sounds great, but what is the technology behind it? This question brings us to our third topic, which will explain blockchain BNB exists on. BNB runs on something called the BNB Smart Chain. It is a blockchain that was built to be fast, cheap, and reliable. Think of it like the engine that powers everything BNB does. It handles transactions, runs apps, and makes sure the system runs without delays. But how does it actually work? The BNB Smart Chain does not use proof of work like Bitcoin, and it does not use classic proof of stake like Ethereum either. Instead, it uses something called proof of stake authority. This system is built around a group of validators. Validators are special computers that process transactions and keep the network secure. To become a validator, you have to stake BNB. That means you lock up some of your tokens as a sign of trust. If you try to cheat, you lose your stake. This creates an incentive to play fair. There are a limited number of active validators at any time. They take turns confirming transactions and adding new blocks to the chain. Because there are fewer validators and because the process is simpler than proof of work, the network is able to confirm transactions very quickly. Most of the time, it only takes a few seconds. and the fees are extremely low, often just a few cents or less. But unlike Bitcoin, which is fully decentralized, BNB Smart Chain is centralized. But that isn't a surprise because the Binance exchange itself is a company which is fully centralized. The BNB Smart Chain also supports smart contracts. These are little programs that run automatically when certain things happen. You can use them to create new tokens, build apps, or set up rules for how money moves. Everything on the chain follows logic. No middlemen, no delays. This concept was taken from father of smart contract technology, which is Ethereum. And if you want to learn about it, here's a video on my channel that breaks it down from scratch. I will leave a link down in description so you can check it after you finish this one. Getting back to BNB. So to sum it up, when you send BNB, trade tokens, or use apps in this ecosystem, you are relying on this fast and secure blockchain. It runs on staked BNB and is kept alive by validators working around the clock. That is what makes BNB Smart Chain powerful. It is not just a network. It is a living system built for speed, fairness, and real-world use. Okay, now you know about BNB more than 90% of people, but let's make that number higher by diving even deeper and explain transaction fees on BNB Smart Chain. Whenever you do anything on a blockchain, you pay a fee. It is like paying a small toll to use the road. On BNB Smart Chain, that fee is called gas. It is the cost you pay for the network to process and confirm your transaction. Without gas, the blockchain would have no way to run. It is what keeps everything moving. But here's the good news. Gas fees on BNB Smart Chain are really low. Most transactions cost just a few cents, even when the network is busy. That is one of the reasons why so many people and developers choose to use BNB Smart Chain instead of other blockchains. It is fast and it is cheap. The fee you pay is calculated based on two things. First, how much work your transaction requires. A simple transfer costs less, but a more complex smart contract might need more power. Second, how busy the network is at that moment. If everyone is using it at once, prices can go up a little. But even then, they stay much lower compared to older blockchains like Ethereum. All of these fees are paid using BNB. So if you want to use the BNB Smart Chain, you need to keep a little bit of BNB in your wallet. Just like you need fuel in your car, you need BNB to move anything on the chain. It is the lifeblood of the system. And here is something else to keep in mind. These fees do not go to Binance as a company. They go to the validators who keep the network running. This is how they get rewarded for doing the hard work of securing the blockchain. So next time you send a token, mint an NFT, or interact with an app, remember, that tiny fee you pay is not a bug. It is the feature that keeps everything honest, fast, and alive. All right, you get what BNB is? You even know mechanics and technology behind it. Now let's compare BNB to father of crypto, which is Bitcoin, and explain the difference. At first glance, BNB and Bitcoin might seem similar. They are both digital currencies. They both use blockchain technology, and you can trade both on crypto exchanges. But when you look under the surface, they are built for completely different reasons. Bitcoin was created in 2009 with one big goal: to become digital money that does not rely on banks, governments, or any central authority. It is slow, on purpose, and it is hard-coded to be secure and decentralized. Every transaction takes time, and the supply is fixed at 21 million coins. No more will ever be created. That is why people call it digital gold. It is meant to store value, not run apps or power platforms. BNB is different. It was not made to replace money. It was made to fuel an entire ecosystem. It is the utility token behind Binance, the largest crypto exchange in the world. Instead of just being money, BNB gives you benefits. It lowers your trading fees, lets you access services, and runs on a blockchain built for apps and speed. Another big difference is how the two networks work. Bitcoin runs on proof of work. That means thousands of miners around the world compete to solve puzzles and confirm transactions. This takes time and energy. On the other hand, BNB Smart Chain uses proof of staked authority. That means a smaller number of validators take turns confirming transactions based on how much BNB they stake and their reputation. It is much faster and uses less energy, but it is also more centralized. You can think of Bitcoin as a vault and BNB as an engine. One is built for security and storing value. The other is built for speed and utility inside a growing crypto platform. So even though both are important in the world of crypto, they do completely different jobs. Bitcoin is the foundation. BNB is the toolbox. All right, we crossed half of today's video. Let me congratulate you and encourage you to stay until the end. In world of cryptocurrencies, education is #1 factor for success. It is the only thing that can separate you from the rest of the world and create you those success opportunities. I give it my all to make that education as simple as possible. And if you agree, please hit that subscribe button and turn that bell on. Now that we compared BNB to Bitcoin, let's compare it to other top cryptocurrencies like Ethereum and XRP. Let's start with Ethereum. It is one of the oldest and most respected blockchains out there. Its main goal is to be a platform where developers can build decentralized applications using smart contracts. Sound familiar? Yes, BNB Smart Chain works the same way, and it even supports the same kind of code. But there is one big difference. Ethereum is completely decentralized. Although we could argue about this since Ethereum migrated from proof of work to proof of stake, and Ethereum moves more slowly. BNB Smart Chain is much faster and cheaper, but more centralized because it is controlled more closely by Binance. This trade-off is what gives BNB its power. It may not be as decentralized as Ethereum, but it works extremely well for real users and developers who want speed and low fees. Now take XRP. XRP is focused on fast and cheap cross-border payments. It is not really about smart contracts or building apps. It is about moving money quickly between banks and payment providers. XRP does that job very well, but it is a totally different mission than BNB. BNB is not trying to replace the banking system. It is trying to power the tools and platforms inside the Binance ecosystem and beyond. Even coins like Solana, Avalanche, or Cardano have their own goals and trade-offs. Some focus on speed, some focus on energy efficiency, some focus on research. But what makes BNB unique is how deeply tied it is to Binance itself. It is the only top coin that is directly linked to the largest crypto exchange in the world. It gets real-world use because millions of Binance users are using it every day. So while others are trying to build platforms for the future, BNB is already doing it right now, inside one of the biggest ecosystems in crypto. And that is what makes BNB different. It is not just another coin. It is part of a system that is already live, already working, and already delivering value to millions of people. Now you know a lot. But what if I told you that BNB was once part of Ethereum blockchain? Would you believe me? Let's find out in topic number 7, which will explore history of BNB. BNB did not start on its own chain. When it launched in 2017, it was actually built as a token on the Ethereum network. Back then, it followed the ERC-20 standard, just like many other new tokens at the time. It was created by Binance as part of their initial coin offering, or ICO. And before we move on, if you have trouble understanding some of the crypto-related terms like ICO, for example, make sure to check my video which explains entire crypto dictionary. Link will be down in description. Getting back to BNB ICO. The goal was to raise funds to build and expand the Binance exchange. And it worked. Within months, Binance became one of the biggest crypto platforms in the world. BNB's original purpose was simple. It was used to give Binance users discounts on trading fees. That was it. No smart contracts, no chain of its own, just a token running on Ethereum. But the Binance team had bigger plans. They wanted more control, more speed, and lower fees. And Ethereum, at that time, was struggling with congestion and high gas costs. So in 2019, Binance launched its own blockchain called Binance Chain. And with that, they started moving BNB away from Ethereum. They swapped all the old ERC-20 BNB tokens for new ones on their own network. This was a big move. It turned BNB from just a token into something much bigger. Soon after, Binance built a second layer to their system called Binance Smart Chain. This new chain added smart contract support and let developers build apps just like they could on Ethereum. Today, we know that network as the BNB Smart Chain, and it is where BNB now lives, works, and powers an entire ecosystem. Over time, BNB went from a simple exchange discount token to a full-blown engine for one of the largest blockchain platforms on Earth. It grew with Binance. It evolved with the market, and it became one of the top cryptocurrencies in the world. So yes, BNB was once just a token on Ethereum, but now it is the foundation of something much bigger, a blockchain, an ecosystem, and a key part of the future of crypto. And all of this sounds nice, but like everything in life, BNB also has its challenges and struggles. So let's explore them. The first and biggest challenge BNB faces is centralization. While the BNB Smart Chain is technically a public blockchain, it is still run by a limited number of validators. These validators are selected by Binance and closely connected to the ecosystem. That makes the network faster and cheaper, but it also means users have to trust one company with a lot of power. In a space where decentralization is one of the core values, this can turn some people away. Another big challenge is regulation. Binance, the company behind BNB, has been under pressure from governments around the world, from the United States to Europe and Asia. Regulators are watching crypto more closely than ever. And when regulators go after Binance, it can affect BNB too. Since BNB is tied so closely to the exchange, anything that hurts Binance could hurt the token's value and reputation. There is also the challenge of competition. Blockchains like Ethereum, Solana, Avalanche, and others are all improving. They are getting faster, cheaper, and more scalable. At the same time, developers are getting more options to choose from. BNB Smart Chain has to keep evolving to stay relevant, or it could fall behind as users and projects shift to other chains. Security is another concern. BNB Chain has seen some major exploits in the past. In 2022, there was a bridge hack that drained hundreds of millions of dollars. While the network responded quickly, events like this still shake trust. In crypto, one security flaw can do long-term damage if not handled properly. And finally, there's the burn mechanism. While reducing the supply is designed to support long-term value, it can also create pressure. If BNB price drops and burn amounts shrink, people start to question how effective the system really is. So even though BNB is strong and successful, it still has to fight on many fronts. Centralization, regulation, security, and competition are all serious issues that need constant attention. BNB has done a lot, but to stay on top, it has to keep proving itself every step of the way. And our final topic for today is none other than future of BNB. Now, nobody can predict the future of any crypto with 100% certainty. But what we can do is look at the trends, the facts, and where BNB is headed if it continues to grow the way it has. First, Binance is not slowing down. It is still the largest crypto exchange in the world by trading volume, and it continues to launch new tools, services, and platforms. Every one of those features adds more use cases for BNB. As long as Binance keeps building, BNB has a place as the core utility token in that expanding system. Second, BNB is becoming more than just a token used inside an exchange. It is powering DeFi platforms, NFT projects, payment tools, and even games. The more developers that build on BNB Smart Chain, the more demand there is for BNB. If this trend continues, BNB could become a central part of Web3 activity across multiple industries. But the future also depends on how well Binance handles regulation. That is one of the biggest wildcards. If the company successfully adapts to global crypto laws and keeps user trust, then BNB could grow right alongside it. If it stumbles, that could slow things down. Either way, regulation is going to shape how BNB evolves. Another important factor is adoption. If more people start using crypto for real things, not just trading, but earning, spending, and building, tokens with real utility like BNB have a big advantage. And because BNB already has millions of users and real-world use cases, it is ahead of many competitors. Finally, there's innovation. Binance is known for moving fast and experimenting with new ideas. Whether it is launching new sidechains, integrating with artificial intelligence, or creating new financial tools, BNB will likely be a part of it. The question is not whether BNB will be around. The question is how big its role will be in shaping what comes next. So where is BNB going? That depends on adoption, regulation, and how well Binance adapts to change. But if the past is any clue, BNB is not going away. It is growing, evolving, and finding new ways to stay useful in a world that is just starting to understand the full power of crypto. Since you made it this far, I can see that you are serious about your crypto education. If yes, make sure to check one of these two videos you see on screen right now. I hope you found the video helpful. If yes, please make sure to subscribe, like, and also leave me a comment expressing your opinion, and I will try to answer as much as I can. Best of luck, and see you in my next video.